kind of like releasing the anger, even though I'm hitting me, right? I don't go to the car and slap myself in the face, although sometimes we get so freaked out we bang our heads, right? If that's not your thing, maybe you cut yourself, right? The cutters. Yeah.
Fuck no.
Right? Or, you know, like just draw something on yourself. Maybe you go get a tattoo. I mean, maybe that can do it too.
That's y'all's.
Yeah? This list that I'm actually going to have you begin to create physically, and I want you to do this as part of your homework, because I'm going to follow up with each of you about this list. Because if we can take the important items and agree upon the definition of a theme, so we get back to the homework. People, places, and things, elements of life, times in my life, when I've had an objection, what I don't like. You know what I really don't like? I mean, answer that question over and over again. Another thing I don't like is, I can't stand it when, now this is all about the world, other people in the world. And then what upsets me about me, what I would want to change about me, what I can't stand about me, the worst part of me. And this is an important recognition of the objection part underlying your fucking bucket. And if you look closely, I think each of you can recognize a bit of fuck you in your using. It's a bit of fuck you. Might not be a screaming fuck you. Might be a whispered fuck you, but it's in there. Fuck you. Fuck this. Right? Fuck you, fuck this. And then I use.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can draw from your list to energize the fuck you to get you to use. Now you leave here and you're into recovery because you're working up your desire to have a life that's different. But this list is not going away. And maybe while you're in rehab, the list is quiet because you're not interacting with those people. But 2 days after you get out, you can interact with those people. You're not in that space. You're not in that job. But we got a little boring here, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. You would have started to get. You would have been getting in trouble here. Would have started if you didn't already do things that you shouldn't have. But we didn't catch you, right? You know when you sit down and talk to your parents about all the things you did that they didn't catch you. 10 years later.
They get so furious.
They have weird feelings. They might get frightened retroactively. Holy cow, you could have been hurt. Yeah. And I'm sitting here, so obviously I didn't, but they could have fear about it. Or yeah, they feel like you conned me, you get one over and if all this material of the fuck you motivation continues, relapse is predictable. The question is what do we do to change it? So I'm talking about Rachel as an example, and I only have so much hope for an internal change of a dramatic nature about this level of excitement. And we all know where the vices are. There's a lot more exciting stuff than where the nices are. If you pit nice versus vice wins almost every time, if excitement is the payoff. Right? Nice fun, good clean fun. It's almost like a contradiction in terms, right? Now when you were little, some of that was easy, but we're not little anymore. And so the vices speak to us, so many of them, in the area of our fun or entertainment, or even an expression of fuck you. It's all in there. It's like a grab bag full of stuff that accomplishes that jointly. It gives me some excitement and it expresses my fuck you at the same time. We have a winner. That's the link. That's the hard to break link. So it runs deeper than just boredom. I mean, you have to see this for what it is. Boredom is the feeling of protesting the lack of excitement or interest. Fuck this. That's why we feel that very shortly after boredom starts. mean, fun, good time, get the juice of life, make it meaningful, make it larger than life, make it a memorable moment, make it, all that stuff speaks to excitement, which is high level interest. But we do get hooked on that. We do get hooked on that. And life doesn't owe us that. Nobody's like Santa Claus, he's not up there thinking, how do I make sure everybody gets tons of excitement all year long? I mean, nobody's doing that. God's not doing that, your parents aren't doing that, your employer's not doing that, your peers aren't doing that, nobody's doing that for you. And in fact, if you look at it, the world's sort of working in the opposite direction. They're trying to take your excitement away from you and give you this boring, obligatory stuff instead. You must do this.
Yeah.
You must do that. This is how it is.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a very depressive message. Like, oh, let me get excited about that. You've got to pay your dues till you get there, right? Oh, how much dues? How long will that take? A long time.
Fuck that.
What?
I said fuck it then.
Yeah, fuck it then. You see the fuck it?
Very good.
If all we have is our nice list to go to, think how the fuck you doesn't have any place to go. Like, fuck you, I'm pissed off, I'm going to go jump rope. I mean, that doesn't work, right?
Yeah, so.
Now working out could. Why could working out work?
Because you feel like you can just knock the shit out of somebody else.
Yeah, you pump, you do stuff with metal and, you bring some of the anger out. You run further than you planned on and kind of like push yourself and somehow the fuck you gets a little expression there,
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, if there's something on the nice list that kind of gets that done, it's that kind of intense exercise. And that's why some of those meatheads that are huge, I mean, they're just rageaholic people,
Yeah.
But they go every day because it gives them a place to take it, because otherwise they'd be out in the street, beating people up or shooting people, No, I'm serious.
Thank you for coming to
Right,
the
and
gym
don't make
today.
them wait for the weights either, like if they're standing there and they want to use the weights, put them down and get out of their way. Is to see the relationship between anger and self-defeating behavior. A link between anger and self-defeating behavior. If I can't really address the target of my anger, and it has to go somewhere, it's actually cathartic to take it out on myself. Now that seems sort of strange, right? It seems kind of nuts, except for it's so predictable for human beings we can't consider it insane. Now if everybody does it can't really be insane, right? Like insane has to be the exception. We will do this when we're angry and there's no acceptable external target. We will do things that are self-defeating with a fuck you flare. Understanding the emotional dynamics, I mean, that's my job. I'm sharing it with you because if we could take this apart and have you understand how the pieces fit together, it will empower you to do something about it. We can't get everything off your list without some sort of Buddha breakthrough, right? You have to be the Buddha to have like it turn into disappearing ink and you don't give a shit. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do that in 10, 20, or 30 days. Takes years of study. But you get the idea, right? If you weren't generating the bitch list, it wouldn't exist. Now, people weren't giving you a reason to put together the bitch list, it wouldn't exist. But then you're expecting this really impossible level of cooperation from the universe. And you know that. The universe really doesn't give a shit about you. Did you realize that?
Yep.
No matter what
Pretty
mommy
clear.
and daddy say about you, the universe couldn't give a shit. You stand in front of a fast-moving vehicle, you're just a piece of protoplasm that gets destroyed. The universe doesn't give a shit about you. And we know that at a certain point in time. And that's, again, getting back to the doctor's office, as mild of a situation as that is, it actually touches upon the recognition that the universe doesn't give a shit about you. And this is enough to generate some anger. If your self-esteem is saying you're not worth giving a shit about, you're in sort of double trouble. Right? The universe doesn't care and you don't think they should care. How do you crawl out of that hole? Now you all have self-esteem issues, don't you? But I think for each of you, I'm not sure about your dynamic.
We're not sure about you yet.
Yeah, we're not sure about you. We're trying to figure you out. You know, if this was a seesaw, like which is higher, which is more important. For you three, I'm pretty clear, it's the world sucks. The world's fucked me over. There's an objection. I know you have some of that, but I'm not sure you're also thinking, you know, I suck and I get everything I deserve. Each of you feels some of that, but it's less pronounced. You more upset with you, or you more upset with the world? Most of us go back and forth on this throughout our life, but some of us get kind of stuck in one position or the other. So the real work in terms of where the energy of your relapse vulnerability comes from, it's on that end of the spectrum, the fuck you toward the world, or the fuck you know the world has toward you. And how to actually become somebody who can still recognize the truth of that without having to get all worked up. Not quite the Buddha, but somebody who has a little mastery over it.
Sure.